Tony Romando is editor-in-chief of the gadget magazine Sync, and Jack Thompson is an attorney and video game expert. Guys, good morning to both of you.
Morning.
Tony, let me start with you. Is this game, first of all, going to live up to its hype? Is this going to be the biggest selling game ever?
Absolutely. It'll do, as you said, bigger than any Hollywood production ever. I mean, this game is massive, and people have been waiting for it for years. So.
And what is the appeal, in your opinion, as someone who sees a lot of these? Why do you think this series of games has struck a chord?
I think the big deal with it is, as we know, this is not for kids. This is for a mature audience. I mean, this is for adults, 30-year-old men. The average gamer is 29 years old. So the guy who works 12 hours a day on Wall Street and is stressed out and gets home, this is his vice. This is his way to relieve a little stress.
You see it as an outlet?
Absolutely. I mean, it's entertainment. It's like
if it's an outlet, why do we need beating up people, shooting people, getting points for killing cops, hanging out with hookers and pimps as an outlet?
Absolutely. I'm not going to defend every aspect of it, but just like a Hollywood blockbuster, I mean, people go for the entertainment value. What this basically is putting you in a big time Hollywood production, and where you're the star. And on the gamer side, or on the guys, the rock star, the company that makes it, in their defense, the whole game is not just about, you can't just beat up cops and, beat up women. When you turn on the people that are, in theory, to protect you, the whole game turns in on you.
So you're saying there's violence, but there's consequences for that violence.
Absolutely. I mean, when it boils down to it, it depends, it all boils down to parents. I mean, this is a parent issue. This is an adult issue. It's not about the kids.
All right, Jack, it's a parent issue, it's an adult issue, but the FTC has a study that says, first of all, 12, 13, 14-year-old kids, even if it says M on the box, are going into stores buying it, and what they also say is that about 80% of the time, they're accompanied by their parents when they're buying the game. How does that strike you?
My son was able to go into Best Buy here in South Miami last night and buy it at the age of 12. He was able to buy Vice City, the other incarnation, at the age of 10, no questions asked, at Best Buy. The problem, and what Tony doesn't apparently know, is that Harvard and Indiana universities have determined that these games are actually processed in an adolescent and in a teen in the part of the brain in which copycatting is likely to occur, whereas adults process them in the forebrain where differentiation between reality and fantasy occur. In Oakland, California, Matt, Daryl Stallworth, the prosecutor, has asked me to help him prove to a jury in a murder trial that older men were using Grand Theft Auto 3 as a murder and carjacking simulator to train teens on how to do carjackings. And one of the kids said, we played the game by day and we lived the game by night.
Tony,
it's a murder simulator.
Jack, let me let Tony respond.
Yeah, that's absurd. You know what? There's no medical there's no findings, no research, no studies whatsoever that say games are bad for children or it changes your mind whatsoever. That's the first thing. Second thing is, these are not simulators for gang violence. I mean, the reality is, what came first, the gangs or the game? The gangs came first, and the games picked up. I mean, as he knows, he can go with all the legal battles he wants to. He's been involved in every legal battle ever with video games, every music, Howard Stern, everything. He's never won a single dollar. He's never actually won a single case.
But
so
you yourself said that this is not for children. But would you concede that children probably process this in a slightly different manner than adults do?
I would think to a certain degree. I mean, this isn't the bloodiest game ever. This isn't the most violent game ever. This is the biggest game ever. There's far bloodier games. But
hey, Matt,
as far as Best Buy goes, as far as retailers, that's not the game. That's not our decision to make. This is for the parents to decide. You need to know where your child's at. You need to know if your child's going to Best Buy. You need to know what your children play. If you don't know your children's top 5 video games,
Matt,
Jack, go ahead.
How about some equal time here? First of all, the heads of 6 major healthcare organizations, including the American Medical Association, have all testified under oath before Congress that there is a direct causal link between these games and teen violence. Secondly, law enforcement has found repeatedly, as in Grand Rapids, Michigan, that some young people played Grand Theft Auto 3, hopped in their truck, ran over a man they didn't even know, went home and started playing the game. They decided that the game was simply the murder was an extension of the game.
But Jack, it seems like what you're saying then is clearly this is an issue for children. Then the laws have to get tougher, and you got to make sure that store owners have to ask for ID of children, and parents don't go buy it with them.
Matt, let me tell you about that. The United Kingdom has a law that says no one under 18 can buy this game. I went out to Washington State. I was the chief witness before the Senate. The Democratic governor signed into law a bill prohibiting the sale of these games, including Grand Theft Auto Vice City, to anyone under 17. What did the video game industry do, supported by people like your other guest here? They came in and persuaded a liberal Clinton appointee judge that video games are constitutionally protected to be bought by children.
All right,
which is absolute nonsense. Britain has freedom, and they understand the difference.
I'm going to give Tony the last word.
It's the same old song and dance, you know, rock and roll, and everything that you want to pick from throughout the years. It's the parents' job. I mean, there's no doubt about it. This game is rough and it's tough, and it's not meant for 13-year-old kids.
Tell that to the families of the dead people.
It's a hard excuse to get around, but you know, it's the parents' job. I mean, you know what your kids watch. You know their movies. You know their games. You know their magazines. You know the music they listen to. If you don't know the video games they play, you're not doing your job.
Tony